Welcome to Free Beer Friday, powered in part by the Bearded Monk and Classic of Denton. The views and opinions expressed by the show hosts and their guests are those of the show host and guests, and not necessarily those of the sponsors, DentonRadio.com, or the Denton Convention and Visitors Bureau. For more information, visit the Policies and Procedures page at DentonRadio.com.
Boom! I was trying to count down with Mr. Jake. What's up? I was almost on it, but I wasn't quite. Hey, everybody. I know, I tried. Hey, everybody. This is Free Beer Friday, and I am Jennifer, the Bearded Lady, and this is...
I'm Ben Easley from the Bearded Monk.
Oh my God, you've gotten so beautiful.
Thank you. I've been working on my braid hawk.
Looks beautiful.
Yep, I erased my tattoos though. I'm not branded anymore. I might be Betsy from like all the breweries in DFW now. I work at them all.
Right, the woman brewer of DFW, essentially.
One of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a few now. We've got 5 now.
Dang.
Actually, because there's one, Sandra is
rapidly
working at Panther Island, and then Danny is moving her brewery from Brooklyn to here, so island to island. So she is our 5th female brewer.
Yeah.
I know.
Just it's like exciting. Rapidly coming in.
And we brought bread.
We did.
And also
I'm just kidding. We did. Who are you?
I'm Katie with Demeter's Kitchen, and I brought bread.
You did? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and dig in while you tell us a little bit about your bread and how you make it. I'm going to go into...
Cool. So I brought in... Okay. It's always sourdough, so I always make naturally leavened breads. And a sourdough starter is just flour, water, and it gathers bacteria and yeast from the air, and that is what leavens the bread. It takes longer, but it lends to more complex flavor. It's definitely easier on the gut because you're fermenting some of the grains that might be more difficult for someone's gut to digest. So today I brought whole wheat spent grain, and I take spent grains from local brewers, and I make it into a porridge, and I add it into the bread because there's still a ton of fiber, nutrition, and flavor in those breads, or in those grains, so I add it to the bread. The whole wheat spent grain has DCBC's Scotch Ale in it.
And we're drinking 8 Foot Leprechaun from them tonight, too. Thank you, DCBC, for making grain, or spending your grain to make the things, and also making this, making both of these things.
So you're drinking and eating something from the same product, so that's pretty cool.
I love it.
And then I also have a Kale Feta spent grain loaf, and I made that with Armadillo Ale Works Green Belt, and it's local feta. I work at a dairy part-time called Latte Da Dairy. It's a goat dairy, and this is goat feta with kale and coriander and black pepper. It's a really nicely spiced bread. And on top of it, I have a black garlic hummus with urfa pepper and also a lemon hummus with sumac. And then lastly, I've been playing around with sourdough bagels lately, and that's been really fun and interesting and different. So I brought a sourdough bagel made with Rouge de Bordeaux red wheat and everything and more spice blend, which is kind of my riff on an everything bagel. And lastly is the special, which you can find at Denton County Brewing Company. It's a spicy mango bean Salsa Verde, and I try to use local producers in some way, shape, or form in the special, and this month's feature is Salsa Revolution, so they're usually at the Denton County Market, and they make unbelievable salsas. Rudy and his wife make a delicious, beautiful product. This one is spicy, so if you're not a spicy person, I wouldn't recommend it, but it's so refreshing, and it tingles your lips, and it's limey, and... Oh, I love it.
And that's great. It has spice, but it's not overwhelming. It's like
that's good.
Pleasant spice, not kick you in the teeth spice.
I feel like I have a high tolerance for spice, but when I first ate it, I was like, is this too spicy? I was like trying to temper it, but people liked it.
Too.
I do too, and I'm really bad at telling people if things are spicy or not. Like, is this spicy? I'm like, I don't know you.
Right.
Maybe.
Could be. Might be. I don't know.
Like, what is spicy to you? Is black pepper spicy?
Then it's definitely spicy.
Yeah. Then don't eat anything. Stay at home.
Yeah. Yes. But no, it's delicious. I have been eating your bread for a while now. I was super excited when I got to see, the first exposure that I've had to your food was at Denton County, and I saw that they were doing sourdough bread, and I saw that it was from their spent grain. So I was like, that's amazing. They're doing a sustainability within Denton. So you're using a byproduct from beer, sustainably giving it to a local baker, and then we also get to intake that on top of also sending it out to farmers. Yeah. For and maybe the goats that you are at, wherever they send it out to all of those farmers, and those animals like eating that spent grain as well. So it's really exciting to see everything right here on this table. Like, you came full circle, and we're just doing all of the things. It makes me happy.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm really excited.
Thanks.
And I just loved, I was so excited. Grandma's 2.0, by the way, when you go to DCBC and try Demeter's Kitchen bread, it is so good. It is like Grandma's toast, but cinnamon toast, but 2.0, and it's so, I don't know. It's just so good. I can't handle it. I can't
Thank
handle
you.
it. I would like to say something about this beer, though, real quick, because I like to do my flavor tastings.
Yep.
And Ben's not here, so I can talk about the beer. I really love the 8-foot. He did a really good job this year because there's like a very caramelly maltiness to this. I like candy corn a lot. It kind of has like that hint, but I think it's just the caramel that I'm tasting. And it's a really velvety beer like most of DCBC's beers, so I'm really enjoying it. And it's 8%. Because it's 8-foot leprechaun, which is named after a guy that is around town.
Who could that be?
I don't know. He's really tall, though.
Some tall guy. I don't
Yeah.
know. Hangs out in Beer Alley. I think
I
met
don't
him
know who you're
once.
talking about.
Yeah.
No idea.
No idea. Yeah, I
No.
think we all know.
No.
But no, it's a delicious beer. He did a really killer job this year with really balancing everything out and making it all velvety smooth.
Yeah, these beers tend to be like kind of malty, sweet, and caramelly, but it's got a really good balance of bitterness on it.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause things can be very easily too sweet for me, especially those malty beers. I dig it.
Absolutely.
It's good. It's a little bit dangerous because it does not taste like it is
no.
8%. It tastes like 6% maybe.
Yeah.
So
No, it doesn't taste like, you don't have that alcohol-y finish at the end or anything like that.
That's all right. I brought my husband. He's going to carry me out of here after this beer. He just found that out.
Oh, hi, husband. Oh, my goodness. This one's like sweet. Sorry, I'm like smacking on air. I'm so sorry, Jake.
It's all right. I'll join you.
This one is like really sweeter than I thought it was going to be. So the lemon one, I thought it was going to be sweet, but this one's like garlicky and lemony. And then this darker one.
Well, black garlic is one of my favorite things. And it's when you take garlic cloves and you let them sit at a certain humidity and temperature for a long period of time. So people call it fermented garlic. It's not fermented at all. It's just slowly caramelized, and it literally turns black. And it's spreadable almost like butter at that point. It's soft, and it just mellows out the pungent notes that I get in garlic. Like when I chop garlic, I hate the way my fingers smell after. And this is
I
just,
love it, but I love garlic in
I do
any
too.
I'll be
form.
laying in bed. I'm like, oh God, I smell my fingers. This
Oh, and it sticks too.
Yeah,
It sticks.
for hours, days. So this is just a different form of garlic. I feel like it still brings you a lot of savory flavor, but it is also sweeter, more molassesy.
That's
And
just
yeah,
the
I just love
garlic
it.
that you made it like taste sweet. Here, Jake, here's the
I
other
love
one.
roasted garlic, but I've never done
This is
black garlic. So are
Me
you
either.
like dry roasting it? Or are you
I've tried
putting it in oil?
3 times unsuccessfully to blacken garlic. I've tried to create the same environment in a pressure cooker, and they say that you can do this. But every time I've done it, I've gotten the garlic to have the flavor, but it's hard. I can't keep it moist enough in there to maintain its softness. So I wind up at the end with hard garlic cloves that I make into a broth, and I use that in like just whatever I'm doing at home. So I buy the black garlic because I just have not yet executed it.
Okay.
But it can be done at home, allegedly.
Well, when you do it, you'll have to teach me the recipe because this is amazing. I just didn't expect that to taste like that.
Thank you.
Sweet, and it goes perfectly with the 8-foot.
Oh, thank you. I'm so
I
glad you like
know.
it.
It's like sweet and
I got to try a preview of the bagels when I was at a bottle share at DCBC.
Oh, I remember
showed
that.
up
You were
with
one of the first batch. That was
like
the first
a tray
batch.
of bagels. Like, have some carbs. I was like, marry me.
please, right?
Okay.
I will
Yes.
eat all your carbs. What? So you do toast with DCBC and you serve them there. Excuse me. I know that the Salsa Verde is a special. Sorry, guys. This week it happens with beers. This is that week's or this month's special. What is your next month's special?
Well, I guess I could say that it's going to be a Feta za'atar toast. So it's going to be...
You haven't even told me this. I'm so excited.
Send you pictures.
Okay. That's true.
So it's going to be the local goat feta from the dairy that I work at, which feta is typically made with sheep's milk, but this is really stupendous feta. and it's going to be warmed in the toaster oven with a za'atar spice blend, which is kind of a Middle Eastern spice blend with thyme and marjoram and sumac and sesame, like very earthy. And that's all going to kind of like get nice and hot in the oven and get a little bit of the caramely crispies on top and a little olive oil, Maldon.
She looks like she's going to kiss you.
She loves za'atar. Ever since I met her, it's always been like, where's the za'atar bread? Where's the za'atar
Yeah, I'm
bread?
like, do you have any za'atar bread? I say it's za'atar. 'Cause
Za'atar.
I
No,
used
you're
to-
probably right. I didn't live in the Middle
So
East,
is that
so I don't know.
something that is common in Pakistani food? Because I know
I
you're Pakistani.
actually lived overseas in Saudi Arabia for a while, and
Okay.
it's not popular in Pakistani food, but in like Mediterranean and Greek and East, like Middle East.
Yeah.
It's very popular. It's like
Nice.
this. It's just so good. I mean, it's weird looking when you first see it, because usually they don't serve it like you are. They serve it like bread, olive oil, za'atar. It done.
Okay.
And
it's
that's how they.
Thick layer of the spice on top
Yeah.
of whatever you're eating.
It's just like za'atar bread, and that's all you get. And so it's just like that flavor you can't find anywhere. And when she like gave me a little nugget of like bread, where is it called? Marrakesh?
Manish.
Manish, like bread. It had za'atar on it. Oh my God. I like ate the whole thing. I was just like, my dad like also eats her bread too. And I didn't even tell him about it because I didn't want him to know about it. Sorry, Dad.
Busted.
Just didn't even. And he's like, what? You have za'atar bread? And I was like, I ate it like weeks ago. I'm sorry. What are you talking about?
I love when I get projects like that, though. Someone will say, I ate this here, this kind of bread there. Can you try to recreate it? And I always try to do it with a sourdough starter. And not that I'm opposed to yeasted breads at all. I just think there's an everyday applicability to having sourdough. And
I love sourdough for the flavor and also for the health benefits.
yeah.
Too.
And I try to keep, like, honestly, my sourdough is not super sour. I don't know if you noticed, but it's not like, you're not like, oh, I'm eating sourdough. It's definitely not yeasted. You can taste that there's no standard yeast in it. But, I don't like to overplay the sour note just so it's more approachable to everybody, all
That's
bread
true.
lovers.
You also have like a lot of fun because I've challenged you to like make turmeric bread and like you made a turmeric ginger. You're like, more peanut butter, please. I might have to get a
Enjoy.
little dip of that. But I love that you exercise going out of your space, like you were saying, and making different kinds of bread. Like I think you had that like raspberry feta one that was really pretty and pink. And then we also had the beet
Oh, yeah, the beet chocolate.
cherry
chocolate beet, for the holiday, for
and
February.
for Valentine's
Yeah.
Day. The
That was cute.
lovers. Yeah, the lovers loaf. Oh my gosh, it was so good. It was just the things that you do, like make it so easy just to cut that piece of bread, plop it on I do skillets. So plop it on the skillet and heat it up and just butter it and eat it. Which I feel good about eating your bread because I never feel tired from eating it because it is sourdough. And you taught me this. It is sourdough, so you're actually eating healthy bread.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
sourdough and the spent grain, because when we use the grain, what we want as brewers is to get all the sugar out of it. And so there is almost no sugar if we do our jobs right. We're giving you grain with almost no sugar in it, but it still has the fiber, and it's really, really good for you. It's got vitamins and minerals and fiber still, just no sugar. So
Yeah.
if you're blending that up and putting it in there, then you're giving us like all the good parts of the stuff that we left behind. you know?
Yeah, and on top of that, I use freshly milled wheats from Barton Spring Mills outside of Austin, and they have a handful or 2 handfuls of different wheats that are grown here in Texas, and they're organic and non-GMO. And I'm really passionate about using different types of whole grains because we have an idea of bread, and it's whole wheat or it's white. And there's certain non-distinct, non-interesting flavors associated with those breads, but there's so many different types of grains, and you guys know this as brewers. Like, there's so many different ways that you can play with grains, and there's nutrition there. We've demonized bread as being a carb and being this, like, non-diet friendly food and all this stuff. And it's like bread can be a daily staple again, but you have to choose
The right
how
one.
you're consuming it. Like the bread that's in a bag at a store for $1 is definitely...
No.
It's wheat that's been grown in a certain way and could have adverse effects. But there's people still trying to grow really good, interesting wheats.
Oh, yeah. Well, and most bread has sugar, but when you consume sugar with insoluble fiber, you are blocking your your intestine's ability to absorb that sugar into your system.
Yeah.
So like that's why people with type 1 and type 2 diabetes, when they eat an apple, they don't get the same blood sugar spike, even though apples contain a lot of sugar because it has so much cellulose, which is the insoluble fiber. They're not actually absorbing the
like
sugar into their
blocking.
system. And so it's the same thing with bread. If you have good bread with lots of fiber, you're not absorbing all of the sugar, and it's actually much better for you than just eating white bread, even if it contains the same amount of sugar.
I see. What the heck? Are you like a bread maker too?
It's almost
Chemistry.
like I have a science degree in nutrition. It's weird.
It's crazy. It is crazy. You may
That's awesome.
or may not have it. I mean, no, that's. I love hearing your science.
I just get
speak.
excited sometimes.
Well, you should, as you should, and you should try her rye. Like her rye is like super savory. Like I would, since you're vegetarian, like vegan, it's a very savory block of bread. It is
Block, it's a block.
It's a heavy, hefty piece
on.
of bread.
I love rye.
But I would say that it's like steak. Like it has that flavor.
bread
that
steak.
It is a bread steak. It's the weirdest thing. It's like got
feel
this
like it.
savory taste that like it's. If you added like a little bit of different flavoring, it could be easily passed as like a steak for.
It'll
like,
fill you up.
it
Like
will.
it's very
Oh my gosh.
satiating.
Yeah.
So good. I put honey on it, but it's.
I love using rye in brewing, and I like rye bread, but I feel like I'd like your rye bread.
Yeah,
Next
it's
time I
like
make it, I'll bring you some.
and all that kind
It's
of
fun.
stuff. Oh, it's so pretty.
And it lasts forever. I've had this one loaf for a week, and it's still just as good as the
Nice.
day I baked it.
It's a dense baby. It's thick. Like weird.
She thick.
She's thick. Ongoing.
C's.
Yes, with the CC. But yes, I do love both of your nerdiness so much, and I don't know what to say because I don't sound as cool sciencey as y'all. But I do love everything that you do, Demeter. I know Demeter, Katie. Sorry,
I'll take it.
I'll call you Demeter.
Only my dream. I'm just kidding.
I know that your future is holding possibilities of baking classes as well. So tell us a little bit more about that.
So I really enjoy educational formats. Always have. And people are really enjoying those. And so I really want to do some sourdough bread baking classes where we get to talk about how do you make sourdough, how do you maintain a starter, how do you shape bread. I mean, I think that dough is so therapeutic. I think it's just a good time for all.
I baked with you, and I agree.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I think I don't get to talk about a lot with the bread is that there's something very tactile about it that I just really, really enjoy.
Nice.
And it's something I don't necessarily think about all the time, but
You should talk about smacking
I do.
it.
I do. Sometimes if
Smack
if
that
someone's
thick
around, I
girl.
just
You
like,
smack it with love. You just sometimes
it
you
makes
gotta
a great
tell it.
sound. It's just like,
It does.
it's a really nice
It's a
sound when you
great-
like smack it right. I don't know. I just,
Smack that bread.
I can imagine.
Hashtag smack that bread. Right?
Jake's like, I need a button to.
He needs
mute
some
you.
more toast. What toast do you want? Oh, he's not answering me. I'm just gonna hand him one.
Yep,
the lemon hummus.
Here you go.
big one. We sanitized our hands.
We did. We're good. I need to.
So yeah, hopefully there will be baking classes coming in April or May, and then you'll see me at some markets. But I definitely want to have people understanding the process and seeing
awesome.
how long it takes. And honestly, like if you make it at home and don't buy it from me, I don't even care because there is something so special about fresh bread that is worth for everyone to experience. And I bake bread, and I know I still buy it because there are times that you just don't want to, or you don't have
Yeah.
time, or you want to experience what someone else is doing with their fermentation and flavor. And it changes with the seasons. There's so much that has to be paid attention to. I'm sure it's the same with beer. It's like you can't create an environment where things happen the same every single time. It's like impossible.
Yeah.
You just have to be
Sometimes yeast is unpredictable.
exactly.
Like we've gotten it down to a science enough that like it's reasonably predictable. We know that it takes 8 to 10 days for this beer, or maybe 14 days for this beer. We know it takes a couple months for a lager, but sometimes yeast is a fickle mistress.
Yeah.
And you can't make like mulberry beer in the middle of winter. You know.
Yeah.
Like you have to wait for the end. You know, like really cool.
Yeah, like can we now? Maybe, but like
Yeah.
you know, traditionally we were making things seasonally, like not only styles, but some of them are dependent on temperature. You know, so if you're like really
Lagers
following
and
the
ales.
seasons properly,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's tough because consumers want what they want, you know, and you feel like there's a responsibility to respond. But that's something else I really try hard to focus on is like, what are people in the area doing, and what are they doing now and in the next 2 months? Because the local community, there's so many interesting artisans and growers and producers in Denton, and whatever they're up to, a lot of them are doing it in a really small scale, but they're making it work. And so how do you ensure that we kind of keep the community close and let people see like, oh, this Salsa Revolution guy, I've heard of him, but I haven't really had his stuff. That's so good. I got to go to the market. Latte Out Dairy, where do I get that? I don't know. Let me ask. These grains, I can make that bread at home if I just had the grains. So I think that's important, is to stay seasonal, stay with like as local as you can. Not everything can be local. I'm not going to be,
Well, and honestly, you need such a small amount of grain to make the bread. Show up to any brewery, on a brew day. We will give you grain.
Oh my
We're brewing
gosh.
at Hop and Sting tomorrow. We're brewing a 30-barrel batch with 2,200 pounds of grain in it.
Jeez.
Come on, I will give you grain.
That's my grain.
She'll
Get
show
it
you how to
there.
make the bread.
Yes, I could never even put a dent in what they wind up like having. They're like, how much do you want? I'm like, 3 gallons.
And they're like, cute.
Aw, yeah. At Union Bear, we brew 10-barrel batches, so we're usually using like 500 to maybe 1,000 pounds worth of grain, and the kitchen just needs like one container, and then all of the rest of it goes to the farm.
Yeah.
It takes a small amount.
Yeah.
It's so much less than it is for beer, because beer, like, it is amazing to think about, like, the difference now that you're saying it, because you use so much, because you're getting, like, that itty bitty amount of sugar that's out of that little
Just trying to
tiny
wash
little
the
grain.
sugar out.
Yeah, and it's like a little baby grain.
And then what
so
we have
you-
to heave out afterwards is
That's
is
the
a
hard
lot.
part. That's the hard part whenever you have to heave everything out. So I'm excited about your classes. I want to take some, and I think we're going to probably team up and do some.
Probably.
It's a possibility. It's a possibility that there's going to be like Bearded Lady, Demeter's Kitchen, like beer and bread tasting,
That'd be really fun.
which are like putting together like a toast like this and like having.
do it.
Yeah.
I will eat bread when I'm not mic'd, so I can just.
I know, right? I
Try
keep
not
on
to
eating
make
it,
so
and I'm
much
like, oh my gosh, I'm making so much noise right now.
I just want to eat the bread, and then she talks for a while. Just
Right. I like your like fake eating sound. It's like a
monstrous.
Muppet. Cookie
Sexy.
monster.
I know.
It's a cookie monster. What else do you have in the works for Demeter? I know you're gonna get married soon. I know that's like
Yeah.
later now,
Yeah.
but that's okay. But you're getting married, so that's also a fun thing. Hey, what's up, Steven? Hey, husband.
Aw.
There's 2 husbands out there. Where's mine? What the heck?
Oh,
Matt?
do you feel left out?
I do feel left out.
Matt.
It's fine.
Come on, dude.
It's fine.
He's probably
like,
watching at
whatever.
home.
He's
writing
probably-
in his
probably-
diary.
Yeah, he's like,
Missing
"Hey,
over."
this is what they should actually talk about. I'm just kidding. So what else is planned in Katie's and in Demeter's life?
I really want to get out to some markets, so I've got a couple of spring markets coming up, and I'm really excited to debut that in the community, and hopefully people will have bread as their home staple in the mornings, not just when they're out having a beer or any other time. I'm also doing kind of an email list, so I'm doing weekly orders, so if people are interested in signing up for that, you can find it on demeterskitchen.com or go to the brewery. There's a sign-up list, and I'll be sending out weekly emails of what I'm baking, and if you want in, you can get in. If you don't, totally cool. And lastly, I'm really trying to figure out how to get spent grains into a flour, and I want to bake like other stuff with a spent grain flour.
She wants to mill
That's my big project that I'm really, really excited about, is creating recipes all around spent grain flours and understanding how they work and if they change with different types of beers and the malts that they do differently. I don't understand how it would work remilled, because I know you lose a lot of the properties after you've malted and then boiled and then dried and then milled.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested in how they'll behave, and I'm really excited to try that one. That's like my
Bessie, I think you should be in on this, and we should
Yeah,
go over
definitely.
and like mill with her.
Well, and there was a grad student at TWU that did some projects both at Texas A&M and at TWU about spent grain and its properties, and she put it into bread. So
What?
we'll find her
Please,
and
yes.
pick her brain, because she's a really smart lady. She was one of my TAs in one of my food chemistry classes. So
I would love to talk
let's
to
find
her.
her research and talk about that. That would be really interesting.
Literally everything is available in Denton. Like, why would we need to leave?
I know.
There's no reason. I got cheese. I got bread. I got hummus.
This is my meal. I'm just going to lock the
got
doors, keep the
salsa.
coronavirus out.
Right? I got salsa. I got beans. We're like
Live for
good.
days. We got protein.
We're
we got
good.
fiber.
We're gonna keep Drake in here, and he's gonna be like, "No, I'm out." I'm just kidding. He's gonna devour this too. But no, it's amazing just to have like Denton. And I say this every show, and I know I'm like repeating myself, but Denton is such an amazing town. You have this community that not only, like, we talk about beer all the time on the show, but I just wanted to bring her on and show this amazing beer bread. But we have this amazing community that you get to utilize the salsa, the hummus, the bread, the latte da dairy, the use some other microgreens in town as well.
Greenfin Farms, yeah.
Yeah, and you're always trying to find more people that are micro makers. That's a new word. Micro makers that want to indulge in putting their stuff on top of your bread. And so, like, I think this is just amazing that I've learned so much just through working with you too, finding all that, and it makes me love Denton. Denton, represent.
Denton.
I just love Denton so much. Like, it's just an amazing town. Okay, bye. Right? Are you guys ready to go eat some more and drink some more over at the Monk?
Yeah,
I'll consider
I
it.
think we should turn off the mics so that I can.
I know, I'm just devout.
And then more beers at the Monk and at DCBC.
Yeah.
And you've got some bread back at DCBC for people to buy.
Big time.
So get your
Get it
little
before it's
booty out.
gone.
Yeah. Get your booty out to DCBC. Order some delicious bread. Oh
Wash
yeah, we
your
don't even talk
hands.
about the menu over there. There's such a great menu. It's a salsa verdes on there. Let me try.
Go for it.
You got the hummus toast. You got the grandma's toast. All right, I'm done.
The spicy sweet almond butter with, right now, 10 Berries is a local jam producer. Her blueberry cherry Kirsch jam, which is unbelievable. And then the last one is an herbed goat cheese, which is my personal favorite. It's fresh chev from Latte da Dairy, whipped with really tasty herbs, topped with like red radish microgreens and pistachios and olive oil. It's decadent and lovely.
Decadent.
I could eat it nearly
All of
every
those
day.
things sound amazing.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to go eat some more, maybe.
Yep.
And drink some more down at the DCBC. So we'll see y'all later.
Thank
I
you.
have cheers in my mouth still. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. We want to thank our partners and sponsors who made this show possible. And now stick around for a word from all of us here at Discover Denton. Do you love live music? If so, make Denton, Texas your next vacation. Find more information at discoverdenton.com.